Hello and welcome to another video of Milford Rail and Chopgate Town. This video we're going to be looking at a friend's engine, see what we can do with it. He's been looking for a A4 Mallard and I picked one up for him at the weekend. Needs a bit of work, so I thought bring you along and show how I sort it out, get it into A1 running condition. No, A4 condition I should say. So I've already made a start, but I'll show you what I've done and we'll go from there. Right, so my friend, he wanted an A4 Mallard in BR green, and I've managed to pick this one up for him. Now, the bodywork spot on to me anyway. It's got all its handrails, all the side rod bits, the windows are there, the buffers are there, and it's pretty good. Yeah, very nice. Now, let me show you this. It is Hornby tender drive. Bear the shaky movements 1 second. That's better. Tender drive. I'm going to give the motor a quick once over, give it a bit of a clean, fresh oil, and that. She does run, so there's no issues with the motor or the bodywork on either the tender or the engine, which is all very nice. Very nice looking model actually. So we'll put the tender out of the way because we don't need that at the moment. Right, but what the issue was is the right hand side valve gear. It's rusty. Is that the one? I don't know if you can see. This is the side rod. Just at that end there's a bit of rust on there. This end pin is got rust on it as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean everything up as best we can. It looks as though I'm going to have to order the valve gear because there's some of the rust that's on the right hand side anyway is quite thick. I don't know if you can see it. This is the complicated right hand side valve gear and whatever. On this arm it is very thick with rust. I doubt very much if that will clean up. Might give it a soak in some WD-40 for a bit. Just try and free a bit up and then put the wire wheel on it. See if I can clean it up. It'd be nice to be able to keep it original, but if not, I have found a replacement set for the left and right hand side. And I have also I actually have the left and right hand side rods. So if I can't clean that up, I've got one to fall back on. I mean, but this one does need cleaning up as well. This is off a Flying Scotsman, which is basically the same chassis, side rods. So we'll see if I can make a clean one out of the two, which I should be able to without any problem. But what I've got to stage at the moment is I've just taken the wheel keep plate off the bottom of the chassis because I've noticed one of the sets of drive wheels, the back-to-backs are like 13.8mm, and I've just tried it on my point. This is a Pico SL32 92 I believe, 91 or 92, and it was all right running through the fog going straight, but going off the left it was jumping slightly, so the back-to-back needs looking at, and I've found that I call them the wheel keeper plate, is absolutely caked in oil. So yeah, okay, a little oil, not a bad thing on these, you know, just to keep them nice and lubricated. But I think, I don't know if you can tell, I mean, you can see it, they're like reflecting off how much oil is on there. It is quite unbelievable. So, and also on the chassis again, I don't know if you can see it, get the light reflecting off the oil somehow. Yeah, so I'm going to adjust the back-to-back on that wheel set. I'm not sure it's one of these two. Give the chassis a clean, and check the back-to-backs again and put the wheels back in. The last thing I want to do is alter the quartering, because at the moment I don't have a quartering tool, gauge, or whatever you want to call them. I could do with getting one, but if I'm able to get sponsors, maybe the sponsors could supply me with all the correct bits of kit that I might need for upcoming jobs. That'd be nice. But I need 1,000 subscribers. I've only got 18. So please, 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 please like and subscribe. Those that have liked my past videos, I forgot to mention, I'm very grateful for you liking those videos. Much appreciated. So please tell all your friends about my videos. Now, some of them might be not up to some standards, and some people might not like them, but you know, I mean, I am trying. I mean, if you leave me comments as well, saying I don't like this bit of content because of such and such, you know, I can do something about it. And hopefully between us, we can make some good content. Hopefully. That'd be nice. Right, I'm going to take this wheel set out. Just leave it there because I know where it goes. It's trying to run away. I don't want to disturb them too much. I want them back in exactly the same place that they're there. So we'll just clean out all this oil. I'll put some new oil in when I only need a dab. Right. I'll put that one back in there because that's the way. In fact, let's just run it round the wheel. Like I say, I'll put some stuff around it, put some new oil on. That's the way it came out. Do with the same with the centre. I've left the side rod attached to this wheel set because then I know which side it is, you know, and I don't get confused. So that's a bit mucky. Get all that crud out of there. It's a bit gungy in there. It looks a bit better. There's no carpet fibres or anything, so it's definitely not been run on a carpet, which is good. So I wonder where the water damage has come from, and I don't know if you can see just there on the axle there is a bit of rust. Get the light right, you might be able to see it, I don't know. There's a bit of rust just there. This is the side in question. So, yeah, so I'll put that back in there, pull this wheel set, clean the axles off, the old oil. It's just been, looks like, to be honest, it looks like it's been poured on. You only need a drop, really. Make sure I'm getting them back on the right side. That side. them the wrong way around now. Right, let's just have a look. I'll put that. Right, yeah, that's fine. I'm wrecking the joint already. There, go in there, get rid of that. Right, I think it's this side that needs looking at. And with it being rusty, we might have an issue. Oops, go in there. Okay, so we've got 14.1, which is just a bit tight, so we're down to 14. It's pushing down to 13.8, 13.9. So let's have a look at with the point. So this is what we're saying. This, when they were coming around there, they were getting stuck in between the frog and the check rail, which is pretty stiff in there. So we need to open that up a bit. But because of the rust, it's going to be, well, we might be all right. Now, there's a plastic bush in there. So, right, I'm going to have to set something up, so I'm just going to be a few minutes while I set this up, and I'll bring you back in just a moment. Right, my little crude setup for adjusting wheel back-to-backs, a couple of pieces of aluminium and metal. Yeah, right, so this wheel set, I've given it a tweak with my fingers, and we're a bit out of true all the way around, because we've got 14.7, which is quite tight in there actually, so 14.3 is too loose in that bit. So yeah, we're not true all the way around. Let's put this up to the maximum, 14.5, which is there. It's tight that it won't fit in between. It's very tight. It's dropped it to 14.4, but there it's spot on. So let's yeah, let's knock it out just a little. So we put that in there. This is my little crude setup. I've got what was a very tiny screwdriver. Stick that on the axle that's got the bush on it, and just gentle taps. Don't need much. So in theory that should have knocked it even wider, but it hasn't. So that's not really moved. I've not tapped hard enough. So what we need to do really, because we're just that little bit too wide. I've just noticed something there. The bush is starting to come out. So what we're going to do is stick it on my block so it's not catching on the hole where the side rod goes in. Just rest it on the block and just ever so gently tap it. That's stopped it completely home now. So that's put that in there. I don't know if you can see in there. I mean, most of you might already know. There, in there is a plastic bush. and that had come out of the axle, the wheel. Now really we want to move the axle but not the bush. So I'll put it back in my clip. I'll put it right up to the, spinning around, right up to the axle, so that the top of the bush is sat on my two brass blocks. I'm going to put my punch directly on the axle, use my little finger to hold on to that block, and a good solid tap will push it straight out. So what I can actually do now is, because we've got a bit of rust on the end of that axle, is I'm just going to clean it off with a bit of sandpaper. Not too much, just enough to get rid of the crap on the end of it. Oh, there, right, you can see, all right, you see there, that's better, it looks better than it did. So, right, let's just have a look at this bush, seeing as we can get to it. Yeah, you can see the bush, just there, that piece of plastic there. It looks solid, no damage, so that's fine. Make sure it's pushed home properly. That's fine. That's fine. That's got a few more revolutions on it. Right. So what we've got to do now, because we've split both axles, is we've got to do the quartering. Now again, I don't have the correct tool for this, so it's done by eye. I don't always get it right. Sometimes it's a fraction off, but you know, sometimes a fraction can cause issues. So I try and set the hole, this hole where the side rod goes, at 3 o'clock. Try and just adjust the positioning so I'm looking dead straight, and set that to 3 o'clock. And if the hole on the back side of the wheel here, this one, is more than 6 o'clock, then we know we've got to tweak it. But you know, I think we're at 5:59. So let's check it that way. So yeah, I don't know if you can see. I don't know. It's pointing pretty much 6 o'clock, and this side on this side, just through here, if you can see it. Just see the hole. It's about 3 o'clock. So we're not far off. Let me just double check it up here. I'm happy with that. So we'll check it just against this one, which I did earlier. And if it's exactly the same, then we're good to go, which it is. So, right, yes, we need to knock this back to at least 15.3, and sorry, 14, between 14.3 and 14.5, and we're at 15.4 at the moment. So we'll get my aluminium block. Again, we don't want to rest the wheel on that ridge. We need it flat on this axle pin. So we'll feel it around. Make sure it's nice and solid. That's right. And just gently tap dead center on the wheel. Let's check that. What do we get? Okay, 14.8, 14.7, 14.5. So we're still a little bit out, which is not a problem. We can rectify that shortly. So again, we need to go back onto the block. We don't need a lot this time. I don't know if you can see it. It might be upside down to you guys. I don't know. It's upside down, but it says 14.5. So we've got 14.5. Fat finger syndrome. Come on, fingers, turn. So yeah. So we are just a little bit out of true, but it doesn't look as though it's going to cause an issue. So it runs through the point okay. Let's waddle it about through there. It's not catching on the frog or the check rail in any way. It's not sticking, which is what we wanted. So we'll put it back on there. So what I'm going to do, move my stuff out the way. Don't need that, don't need them, don't need that. What I'm going to do is put the wheel keep back in. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on, not like was before. I'm just going to put a little bit of light oil on the axles. The proper Gauge Master engine oil, so I only need a little bit. Put the wheel keep back on, and then we can try it through the point. See that it doesn't catch on the frog or the check rail, and see if we've got a wheel wobble. Right, won't be a second. Right, okay, so we've put the wheel keep back on. I'll just put a little bit of the oil on the axle. I'm just running the wheels around. I mean, they're going all over the place because they've only got one side rod on them, but just give them bed that oil in. Bit of flick, take that off, give it a run round. I can't see any wobble on that one, so that's good. Move that out of the way. That looks fine. Right, bring the point back in. Stick that on there. The middle wheel won't turn, but we'll put the rod back in its right holes. And it doesn't jump on that point now. It doesn't jump. That was my finger then. Okay, it's come out, which is inevitable. So we'll turn it round. Turn it. Oh. That's the side rods causing it to slip. That's fine. That's fine. So what I'm going to do, I'll put this other side rod on. This one I think is bent. It looks bent. Whether it's my eyes or not, I don't know, but it does look bent. Making sure that we've got the right side in the right place. Come on, get on. Put this spacer in. So I put the spacer in this time. Fasten that down. Undo this screw and put the spacer on this side. It's a little metal spacer, bearing, whatever you want to call them. Stick it on the pin, and these little screws, well, yeah. Luckily my fat finger syndrome doesn't cause an issue. So yeah, that looks alright, doesn't it? It's nice and free. Obviously it doesn't run very well on this map, but you get the idea. So through the point, there's no dragging or anything. I can't feel any binding or anything. No, it feels fine. What I have got, not far away, bear with me. This is an old Hornby R607 curve, which is it second radius? Yes, it is. 605 is the first, then 607 is the second. So, well, that to me, I cannot, I mean, you won't probably tell from this video, but I can't feel any binding from the valves, the side rods, so at the moment it feels pretty good. There is a tiny bit of resistance in the curve. I mean, this curve's not very good anyway, it's all bent and twisted as it is. So if it'll feel smooth around there is a little, I think it's just down to the piece of track I'm using. But yeah, let's get rid of that. But yeah, that feels pretty good. So yeah. So right, now I've adjusted the back-to-backs, and I'm happy with that. We've cleaned up the outer two axles. There's no more rust on them. There's a little bit on that one, but I'll get the wire wheel on it. I've got a very small wire wheel. Put it on a relatively low speed, and then it's just not ripping into everything, because the last thing we want is to damage the spokes on the wheel. So yeah, just carefully with the wire wheel, just get that rust off. Or it might even very fine wet and dry sandpaper, only a very tiny piece. This is quite a narrow headed screwdriver, so if I get a piece just on the edge, on the same size as that, I mean, that is exactly the right size of that. I mean, you might be able to even scrape the most of it off with this. It's actually coming off. So yeah, so that's the next job, is to get the rust off the two axles. Have a look at these side rods I've got. I've got 4, 2 for each side, and then make the best out of, obviously 1 for each side, so 2 for each side. Clean them up and see which is the best, and then we'll fit those. And then maybe if my friend wants to buy the complete set, the valve gear I've found. Load of those, and I'll show you fitting them, which is really fun, I must admit. If it all goes together as it should, it is quite a nice thing to do, actually. I mean, some people might think that's bloody weird, but hey, in the meantime, while I'm waiting for those to arrive, I might have a go at cleaning this right-hand side valve gear up, just for the sake of it, see what we can do with it, and go from there. So yeah, so that's it for now. Well, today's Wednesday. Thursday, I'm not going to get much time in the shed, cabin, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Call it what you want, within reason, please. So maybe Saturday I'll get back onto this. Maybe Friday, might do a bit tomorrow. We'll see how things go. Anyway, I mean, for you guys it'll be only a few seconds. For me it'll be a couple of days, no doubt. So catch you later. Bye for now. Hello again. Welcome back to another part on this A4 Mallard that I've been working on. Just decided to have a look, see what the motor was like. And these tender drives are a pig to get the motor out of there. They're a pig. But I managed it. And it's not too bad, actually. I've cleaned the wheels. I've just took the first plate off, give the contacts a bit of a clean. There's still traces of oil where there shouldn't be, so I've just been cleaning those off. Yeah, it's looking good. There's plenty of resistance in the motor, in the magnet, I can feel. The common problem with Hornby motors, I suppose with Lehman motors as well, Ringfield, these drive gears can start to spin. If you put too much oil on them, they can just spin on the axle. But this one's pretty darn solid. So yeah, I can start to there's a bit of crud on the inside of the cap here, and I'll just quickly clean off. Cotton bud, it's got a bit of mess on the back on it. Just give it a clean. I like with a bit of kitchen roll. That looks better. Don't know how much of you can see of it, but there was a bit of crud in there. Now I'm going to put where the armature axle comes through, I'm just going to put a bit of white grease in there. We'll put a bit of oil in when we get it running as well, so it just helps. I only need a smidgen. So that looks pretty good. There's no bit of rust on there, but that's not going to cause any problems. The spring contacts look good. Not on them. Give it a wipe. Nothing on them, so that can go back in there now. Get that wire out the way. Nice, solid, firm push. And that's that back in there. So, take that grease off there. We don't need that much on. We don't want it flying everywhere. So that looks fine. Right, let's have a look at these. See what condition these bushes are in. Not too bad. See how much crap actually comes off them. Not much at all come off. Just wipe them on bit of kitchen roll and see, wipe all the crud off the both ends, and that have built up from running, which doesn't look as though it's had much running, but yeah, that'll do. That I'll put that one back in there if I can. There's not a great deal of room to work on these things. Let's have a look at the other one. The other one's attached to the spring, which can happen sometimes. Where's that come from? Oh, yeah, this one's actually bust. The like little dome at the top of the bush has come off, but that's not an issue. That's not going to stop it running properly. Yeah, back in there. Just push them down till they sit on the armature properly. Let's have a look at these springs. Yeah, they don't look too bad at all. They're pretty good, so they can go back in. Stick it in the hole, hold it in place with the screwdriver and close the lid. And the next one, that looks fine. Same again, stick it in the hole, close the lid, line it up, take the screwdriver right, and there we go. That looks fine. Right, let's see what these gears will look like. Yeah, not bad. There's a bit of excessive oil on there, but stick a bit of white grease on the back. Get it in. Come on. There we go. Give it a wipe. Bit of grease. Come on. There we go. Put that one back in that side. Come on. There we go. They spin nice and freely. And a bigger gear wheel. Looks alright, there's no damage on it, just a bit excessive oil. Yeah, that looks nice. A bit of grease on the little cog that's on the inside. Stick that one back in. Last one. Yeah, looks fine. Bit more grease on the inside, little wheel. Pop that one back in. Keeper plate. Oh, that one's pretty good actually. And that's a bit, because I've noticed on some keeper plates, that's what I call them, I don't know what you guys call them, that the finish on the edge and on the edge of the hole, I mean there is a bit there, I don't know, I can't think of the word. Oh, what's the word? Come on people, tell me. The ridge from drilling and shaping, there's usually a little bit of metal on the outside. Some of them are really bad. This one's not bad at all, so I just file them down, file it smooth, because I suppose it could eventually cut into the gear wheel. make a groove. Not that it would cause that much of a problem. There we go. So there we go. Back together. Right, I shall set my test track up and put it on there and give it a bit of oil and let it run for a bit. I shall bring you back in just a moment. Right, okay, so we've just put it on the test track. I'll put the wires on, back on, and we should be good for a test. Right. Sounds good. I should put a drop of oil, if I can find it. There it is. Stick a bit of oil in certain places, avoiding the centre of that. We put too much on there, and we could end up with problems. This is when you get the usual Hornby squeal from some engines, this is where it usually is, this culprit, where the axle comes through the casing, the armature axle. It took me a while to figure that one out, actually, when I was teaching myself all about the ins and outs of motors and things. It took me a while. But I got there in the end. So, right. The wobble is one of the traction tyres is not sat properly, but I'll correct that shortly. Turn the resistance down a bit. I love these old Hammett and Morgan controllers. So bulletproof, there's absolutely nothing to go wrong with them. There's no awkward circuit boards or anything. I love them. So right, I'm going to leave that to run for 10 minutes and then we'll put it back together and catch you in a bit. Okay, we've let it run for a while. We're back on the workbench now, and it's a case of just putting the motor back together, back in its tender. Everything's sweet as a nut. I'm happy with it all. So looking good, runs fine. So we'll just fight with getting it back in here now. So, yeah. Oh yes, I know. Nearly forgot the middle wheels. That would be disastrous. They go in there. Right, we've got big lug goes to big lug. Big lug, lug, lug. Little lug to the front. Something like that. And click. And we're back in. Sweet. Connect the wire onto there. Make sure it's down nice and tight. There we go. Check the other ones on. Yep, both in. Right, now the tricky bit. Oh, right. This is the tender pony. It's looking a bit sorry. So what I'm going to do is take the wheels. You can see what it's like. There's a bit of rust on the axle, and the plastic doesn't look very clever. So what I'm going to do is take the wheels out, take the yoke off, and give it a clean. So they just prise out. Same with the coupling hook, just prizes out like that. Right, yeah, there is a bit of rust residue. I don't know if you can see in there, just in there, there's a bit of rust residue. But we'll give that a clean with some meths. Not a lot. The last thing you want it doing is eating the plastic. With a whole lot I wipe down. Nice and tight in there. Get the rust out. Yeah, a bit of goo on it. Oh. Bit there I've missed. Looks better. All nice and clean. Oh, I've missed a bit of rust in there. I'll get another one. I think I've got it that time. Looks like it. Yep, that was good. Right. And I've got a bit of rust on these wheels. Now, how bad is it? It's not that bad. Give it a good scrub with this piece of track rubber I've got. It's not fetching all of it off. Okay, it's decided it wants to be stubborn. I think we're going to have to take more drastic measures to get this cleaned up. Somewhere over the rainbow there is a piece of wet and dry, but I cannot find it. I'll just get another piece. That's a simple answer. Where's my skizzers? There. Okay, right. Too wide. Still a bit too wide. piece of wet and dry wrapped around the axle, held tight, and just spin it round for a bit. Give it a bit of clean. You can see that it's fetched it off. I don't know. You can see that. Yep. See all that crud off there. It's coming off. Coming off. I need to go again. I'm going to use a longer piece this time, and then I've got more to hold on to. Too narrow, too wide. Too narrow, too wide. Make my mind up one day. Get that old piece out of the way. Dee, 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 dee. What sort of day have you had? I've had a busy one. Apart from doing this, it's a Friday, so I don't normally do much railway stuff on a Friday because it's shopping day and I'm usually a bit worn out from it. It tires me out a bit. Right, I'm not getting all this rust is not coming off very well. So I just have to keep persisting. I don't want to have to use the more abrasive paper I've got if I can help it. But the way things are going, I might have to. It's coming off. It's just in certain place that it's been stubborn. I think that will actually do. Right, that will do. Let's have a look at us back to backs on this wheel. Interesting. We've got 13.9. I didn't check these before I put them in. 14.3. That'll be fine. Just get my piece of track, my point, and just see what it runs through there. It's only very slightly catching, I don't think. No, there's still plenty of wobble in there. Where's the housing? Right. Make sure we get this the right way around. Drive gears on that side so it's away from me. Not that it matters. Push it back in. Right, what's the coupling up look like? Any rust on that? No, it looks pretty clean. Just give it a wash anyway. If it was my engine I was working on, I wouldn't bother cleaning the coupling up. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but because it's for a friend, I'll give it the works. Right, clip the hook back in. There we go. Now, I hate these little things. It's fine. I'll try and get this back on here now. Is that on? I don't think that's going to come off anytime soon in there. It moves freely. There's a bit of up and down movement as well. Plenty of wobble. So that's fine. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. Stick the body, tender body back on, and that's that done. And these just clip on. Just check it over. Bit of an air there, which I can't get hold of. Where's my tweezers? We don't want airs. Nothing on the top. That looks all fine. The side bodywork is pretty good. Stick it back together. Line it all up. And there we go. One tender. All back together. It's fine. Job done. Right. So, back to the valve gear on the engine. Lovely. Catch you in a bit. Hello, welcome back to Milford Rail in Chopgate Town. It's Saturday afternoon and it's time to get this mallard finished for my friend. I had a go at cleaning the very rusty valve gear that was on it. I had a go at cleaning it up. It's not come out too bad. There's still a bit of rust there, but yeah, it's not brilliant. Which way around does it go? That's the tricky bit, is getting it all the right way round. Something that way. Something like that. So yeah, it's not turned out too bad, but we don't need that. Right, so let's have a look at the engine. How are we doing? I want to do a bit more fettling on that side rod. Everything else looks pretty good, so I'll just clean that, take them screws off. Them screws will be getting dizzy before long. And then there's a bit more on this side rod that's a bit manky. A bit more. Bit of wet and dry. Fine stuff just to finish it off. That'll do. So, right, let's have a look at the cylinder block. Not much of a cylinder block. They're not on these things. Yeah, that looks fine. And that goes under there somehow. I just can't remember which way around it goes. I will just have to check that. In here, we have left and right valve gears, which I'm going to fit, but I just need to check which way around the cylinder block fits. Oh yes, there's only one way it can fit actually, looking at it now. So it goes on that way. That's the front. The front, because there's slots in there for the valve supports. Right. Let's see what we've got here. That looks like the left hand side. We want the right hand side. Nope, that's the left hand side. Yep, that's the left hand side. Yep, we want this side. That's the top. No, I'll get it right in a minute. They're so confusing because there's a bit that you'd think would be the top, but it's actually the bottom. Like that piece there. Hey. Yeah, okay. almost like, so that is definitely the other side, so we were right first time. This is the side we want. It was just the way that the components was laid over these joining pieces. It was confusing me slightly, which doesn't take much these days. There we go. Looks something like that. So right, yes. So I need to reposition you a minute. I'm trying to show you what I'm doing. Move that out of the way. So we've got a side of his loco, we've got the side rods on. Now this piece up here, I don't know if you can see it, is a piece of plastic that holds this corner. That fits into there. Then we want the spacer. The spacer goes on there. Then we need to drop the piston bar into that groove, pull the bottom part up because that locks in place. We slide that over there onto the spacer. Then we take the top crank, hold it over there, and we get this tiny little screw, drop that in the hole. This is only just to get things in kind of position. Right, so it's starting to look something like what we want. So that's dropped out a bit, which is fine. That will drop. So that's kind of what we're aiming for. Pull that out of there carefully. Angle it so that we can get that piece into there, which we can't. So yeah, now take it off again. Get the little screw out because it's the piston arm sits. The piston arm sits in that channel in there. My fat finger's getting in the way, and this piece acts like a locking piece. There's a bit on the back that slides over the slider like that, which holds it in place in there like that, and quite easily just fall out as you're putting it in. So it's have to carefully put it in place. And now I think, looking at this, I'm going to have to take that off there because that bit needs to go the other way around. If it will, yes it will. It's being stubborn. Put that back onto there. That goes into there. Sorry you're not seeing a lot of this, but it is very tricky to get my fat fingers out of the way and show you guys exactly what I'm doing, but I try and do what I can, as much as I can for you. Right, so with something like that, square at the bottom down there, comes down round. That is not connected yet, so we don't worry about that piece yet. So just make sure that I've got the rest of it in. Probably noticed I've not put the cylinder blocks in yet, because I'm hoping that when I put the other side on, I can slide these on and then clip them into place on both sides. Otherwise it gets tricky. Now, does that go that way around? I believe it does. So put the screw in. I'm not putting the screw all the way down, because I'll need to tweak it just enough to hold it. And that's kind of in the right place by the looks of things. But it can't be, because it's not moving. It's a bit on the stiff side, so right, hopefully that will stay like that while I put the other side in. So I'll whack the other side in and I'll bring you back. Won't be a minute. Right, okay, so we've got both valve gears in now. We just need to do the cylinder block. Move you around a bit. Don't look at my chest, I don't know if this will work. Right, so we've got to get this under there, but we've got to get all these components. There's 2 slots on each side, as well as putting it into place. So let's have a look. So we need to go in. We need to go in this end, this way. So let's try line those 2 up like that. Line the cylinders up. They should go through that hole. Now, making sure that we've got that still in place in there, and we're still in that side. Yeah, you see that looks forward. That's forward. We've got the cylinder guides in. We've got the cylinder guide in there. We've got the cylinder rod in there. We've got the cylinder rod in there. I think that is right. Got those 2 ends in. That looks so. What we've got to do now is push that into there and push it in down like that. So we're in. Right, what I need to do is these top cranks, the axle pin has got 2 flat edges on them, so I need to make sure, where are we? I need to make sure that I've got it sat right before I tighten these screws up. Right, so we take the screw out. Let's have a look. Right, so it's very hard to tell sometimes. I mean, my glasses are not brilliant. My eyes are not the best. So that has to go. I believe it goes there. That's the right way. I wish I didn't have fat fingers. You know, this would be so much easier if I didn't have these bloody fat fingers. Blame my dad. He's got fat fingers too. Right, that's in. There we have got a bit of play in there. Hopefully that won't cause a problem. Right, let's check the other side. In fact, we can do it without taking the screw out. It feels okay, so I'm just going to nip him up. Pretty nipped up as it is. Right, the moment of truth. There is a bit of a dry spot. But overall, that doesn't feel too bad. We've got there is a dry spot on the top end. There is something somewhere is catching. Right, okay. I don't know if it's that. It could be the side rod. Looks like the side rod's got bent. Okay, right. Because that could be catching on the frame over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the side rod off carefully. I mean, this is what you get with doing valve gear, running gear. It's a lot of on off, and sometimes you'll get it right first time, but I've done it once, got it absolutely spot on first time, and yeah, I rather surprised myself. Yeah, okay, this, I don't know if you can see it, but it's not perfectly straight. So let's have a look at the other one. Let's have a look. Right. Just had to lean back in my chair a bit, my back's hurting. So my hands are a bit away from the camera. Right, let's try that. Put the side rod on. Pull it this way a bit. Put the washer on. Get the piston crank. Put that on there. Put that on there. Come on. Get that out of the way. Piston crank on there. Top crank somehow. Come on. Fat fingers. Hit. Fat fingers. Little screw. Yeah. Yeah. Is that in it better? No, we've still got a dead spot on top. It feels fine. I can't feel. I mean, that's the. I can feel. It's just something. Just something somewhere that's catching on top top of the stroke, but I can't really see anything. What's that motion like there? Yes, no, you can't see all the way up there. In there, that be catching. No, it doesn't look like it's got enough clearance. Maybe just a little adjustment. Okay, so it does move. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it over to my layout. I'm going to put a bit of very, very small amount of oil on the pins. Very, very small amount. Too much and it could give you problems. And then I'll bring you back. Okay, right, so I've just had it over on the layout and the piece of track. Put some oil on all the point, all the joins, all the things. A little bit too much in one place, I've just noticed. There's me saying don't overdo it, but just a bit too much down there. Just dab it off. And what she look like now? Much better, and that's much better. So the only thing left to really do now is check the front and rear pony motors. Don't have motors in this bit. Bogies. Give them a bit of a clean, and we can reassemble. So this is the rear pony that's got the rear pickup on, so I'm going to, through there where the pickup comes through, just going to run my rubber through the contacts, give them a clean. It's not too bad. Give it a brush down. I'll give it the once over with the cotton bud and nets, and then give it another brush. Make sure it's all nice and clean for him. Clean all the bits. Give it a brush. The wheels don't look too bad. Give them a quick polish. These wheels are non-pick. They don't pick up power, these wheels, but still just give them a polish. That'll do. Right, we can put this back. Clean my hands. I'm going to put the body back on. Mind you, I don't need to do it yet. Right, making sure that we've got the spring. We can't go without the spring. Spring sits in the hole in there. Just lay that there a minute. Give the screw that holds it all in place a wipe. Because this carries the power. It is a bit. There's a bit of crud on it, so I'll give it a clean. That'll do. Yep. And then through there, and down the spring, screwdriver, that one, and then screw it down. So as far as it'll go, like that. Make sure we've still got some slop on the trailing bogie. That's fine. Right, front bogie. Yeah, put front bogie. Now we've got a bit of rust on that coupling, and these are buggers to change. So I'll just give it a bit of a. My friend's got an airbrush, so he might just want to go over it with the liquor paint. And the coupling, it's easy enough to do. Just undo the screw and drop it out and paint the coupling. Cover the wheels in tape, obviously. And I've known some people spray these wheels black instead of having them this shiny. But I'm one for all original as the model comes, so shiny's what we get. Right, front bony fitting, very small. You can see that, very small washer, and it just sits in a little recess on this bit of plastic just there. I don't always get it in right, but there we go, in first time. That makes a change. Then there's a little screw which has got a step on it. I don't know if you can see it. Fat fingers syndrome. It's got a little step in it that stops it tightening up too much. Like that. It looks very still looks oily on the chassis, but it's just the way the light's catching it. Front bogie, hold it over the hole, put your screwdriver on the screw, line it all up and tighten away. Once it's established, swap hands if you're left and right-handed like me. Make sure we've got plenty of movement. That's all over the place, and that's good. Right, that's that put back together. So now we fit the body, and then it's testing time. Ooh, can't wait. Right, it's looking the business already. Right, the body. Right, so we've got 2 pins sticking out the chassis there. We've got 2 slots in the body there. We slide the body into those 2 slots. Then the cylinder block that we fitted clips into the body cylinder fascia, which is a very unusual way of doing it. I won't know whether to say it was a good idea or a bad idea. So just push that into there. Did you hear it click? Clicked in. Push it tight, and now she's back on her wheels. Move the rubbish. A tender. Now, that's sometimes if you don't put the tender in the pickup pony, it can lift the tender off. If it's not sat down solid, it can lift it up and you don't get the grip on the rails. But there we go. One mallard. Right, let's go over to the test track. I need to clean that first. So I'll give that a clean. We'll put her on the track and see how she runs. Okay, right, we're here at the test track. Now, first quick try was not good. We have a connection issue. I've tried the Okay, so right, we've got it on the test track. Now, first try is not looking so good. I've taken the rear pony motor bogie off, pony truck, whatever you want to call it. Put that on the motor and put my wire from the track to the end of there, so the connection between the tender and the engine is good. We know that. So that begs to differ if the problem is the brass screw that holds the pony truck to the chassis, or it's from the wheels to the chassis is where we're losing power. So it could have been the brass screw, and that actually everything seems to run okay, so apart from when I don't run it off the track. Okay, the centre wheels are not sitting on the rail properly on the tender. They're stubborn little buggers. Well, I think at this stage that will do. So I can get in touch with my friend, tell him it's ready, it's running. I've cleaned up, replaced the valve gear, and that runs fine to me. Now, what it runs on a layout like could be another question. So he doesn't live that far away, so if he's got any issues, he needs to put it on his layout and just let it run. Nice steady speed for half an hour, just let everything settle back in. And then if he's got any issues, to bring it back to me. And we'll just give it some tweaks and a bit more of a clean, and yeah, go from there. Does sound like there's a little squeak somewhere, but like I said, once it's had a good run in, because it's been messed about with and everything's settled down, if it's still got little known issues, then we can just tweak them a bit, because at the moment I haven't got the facilities to put an engine on track and just let it run round for half an hour. I've only got this short section of board at the moment. So yeah, so that's it for now. But yeah, she's back together. She's had a new side gear, all the wheels cleaned, all the pickups cleaned, the motor cleaned. What else have we done? Put some new oil in it, oil on the on the tender and all on the side gear, and everything looks fine. One thing I do want to check, because we've been running it, is these side gear screws. They can work loose at some point, but they seem fine. So anyway, she's ready. I shall let my friend know, and yeah, get him to give it a good run and that. Right, I shall keep you posted, and that's the end of this video for now. So yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Any questions, please ask. I'll do my best to answer them as best as my knowledge. Catch you later. Bye.